You like breakout trades, but want to trade them better and are not sure how. In this video, we provide a peek into our training methods live from our training room in New York City to do just that. If you want to learn how to improve this winning trading strategy to grow your account, then this video can help. Hi, I'm Mike Bellafiore, co-founder of S&B Capital, a proprietary trading firm located in Midtown Manhattan. And I'm also the author of the trading classic, One Good Trade, and the Playbook. Click our subscribe button so you don't miss any of the trading videos that we're producing for you in the trading community. In this video, you're going to learn how to trade a breakout trade better. You're also going to learn the key variables to consider when making this technical trade. Which breakout trades are most likely to trend? The intraday technical pattern that leads to the big swing trade that we all want to make. How to determine if you should keep this trade in your trading playbook. The key data to help make better trade decisions for this trade in real time. And as always, how to think through a trade like a pro. For those who want to improve their trading so that you can grow that important trading account of yours, we hope this video helps. If you want to learn 3 more real-world setups that our traders use, including the simple setup that we teach all of our new traders and the setup that turned one of our traders into a 7-figure big money earner, check out the free webinar that we're currently running. Just go ahead and click the link that should be appearing right now at the top right-hand corner of the screen. That's going to open up this free registration page in a new window. Don't worry, you're not going to lose this video. You're going to learn more in a couple of hours from this trading workshop that we put together for you than from years of online education.
So this is a playbook from Etsy where they had an earnings beat. They guided upside for 2019 and they were gapping into all-time highs. So big picture, Etsy reported earnings last night with an earnings beat.
I like to, I get a little bit of a stickler for this, but I like to just call that an all-time high breakout trade.
Okay.
And then inside of that, it just happens to have those variables. But I think that's a pretty good tag for that. I like to have the tags with names so that I can go back and look at it. Yeah, so to me, that's like an all-time high breakout trade tag. And then those other ones are just the variables of that particular setup.
Okay. So active buyers, active sellers, and sales all rose significantly year on year. SPY sold off yesterday and had an upside and an inside range day today. Some news events were Powell testifying before the Senate Banking Committee and consumer confidence number.
So what is the most important thing in there from the big picture that you're highlighting?
I'm highlighting the earnings. So the results that active buyers, active sellers, and the sales all rose significantly.
Yeah, not the earnings, because this is a growing company, right?
Yeah.
It's how their core product is doing. And so the fact that the active buyers and the active sellers are picking up, that is what's most significant. Okay? The company, the core of what they do is growing.
So the trade strategy, it's first day earnings play gapping into all-time high. Earnings and revenue beats, upside guidance, breakout trade, buy the breakout or consolidations near the high, anticipating the breakout into all-time highs. Targets should be the exit into strength at high of day as the tape slows or the trend breaks, or into the close if you're going to hold that.
So I had a conversation with a trader last night, did a report card, and I gave some feedback to them. They actually were trading something where the guidance and the commentary from people who cover a particular stock that this trader was trading was mixed. And I didn't actually look at the chart yet. I just read mixed commentary. And when I hear mixed commentary, I just like immediately prepare for a particular stock above and below VWAP, a stock that has a run, a stock that has a sell-off, a stock that has a run, a stock that has a sell-off intraday. because there's going to be people betting long, there's going to be people betting short, and because there's mixed guidance, there's going to be differing opinions, and so there'll be differing moves. We want to be open-minded, but I'm preparing for myself for that. And when I read something like this, when something's at an all-time high and everything is positive, I do say to myself, not that it can't sell off, not that it can't be a little bit choppy, but you got to throw this into the bucket of it's going to be more likely for it to catch a bid and be clean, and catch a direction and be clean, versus mixed commentary. There's not going to be mixed commentary in this stock when it's at an all-time high and it has earnings like that, right? So something to think about. All right, next.
So Intraday Fundamentals, earnings and revenue beat with upside 2019 revenue guidance. Active buyers rose 18%, active sellers rose 9%, sales rose 47%, gapping and breakout into all-time highs during pre-market. There was a number of analyst upgrades, so Citi, Deutsche Bank, RBC, and KeyBank, all issuing buy ratings with price targets from $60 to $80.
Yeah, so all of that commentary is going to be in one direction, in this case, positive. Yeah. That is going to more likely cause the stock to move in one direction.
ATR 2.6, average daily volume 3.08 million, elevated RVOL 7.7, volume on the day at 23.8 million, short float at 7.7%, high institutional ownership, beta at 0.5, and a float of 103 million.
All right, so we talked recently, and you had a lot of success buying stocks that were going to an all-time high. Looking at that particular set of data, average true range, average daily volume, RVOL, short float, institutional ownership, is there something in particular about any of that data that gets you more interested? So are you more comfortable trading stocks with a certain average daily volume? Are you more comfortable, are you looking for RVOL to be X? Are you looking for ATR to be something specific? Are you looking for volume to be specific? Are you looking for price to be specific? When you're looking at how you want to trade all-time high breakout trades?
Yeah, so first of all, I'm more comfortable having looked back at the data and the stats with floats between 50 and 250 million. That's where I have excelled the most. RVOL should be over 1.2, at least that's what I've set my scanners to now, and ATR is above 1 in general, is where I've found the most success.
Why did you set RVOL to 1.2?
Because I wanted it to be over 1, but not just over 1. I wanted it to be, slightly over, and then also anything that's 0.5% and higher on the day. So that's going to show me things that are up on the day with elevated volume.
Okay. Good. And the key for this is for you to look at your trading and what's best for you, and for you to develop your system based on your measurement of your stats. I would be surprised if you don't raise that RVOL. I'm not suggesting that you have to, but I would have guessed that the RVOL would have been higher. I mean, essentially, you're having a lot of success with all-time high breakout trades, mostly in high beta names. So I'd keep tracking that data point. But if 1.2 is working for you, great.
So this was SPY on the day. Pretty much had a inside, just kind of range bound on the day. This is Etsy weekly chart, so you can see gapping above that $60 range, $60 all-time high. This is a 5-day chart, gapping, so you can see as they reported earnings after the close, the prior day, it kind of shot up, and then there was a bit of price discovery after hours, and then just kind of grinded up during pre-market towards the open. This is the intraday chart. So trade management, I took some losses scaling down size on the open during large wicks. It never breaks the opening print, so this was poor trade management with too much size, too early and too close to the open. Once it starts working and I can see that I'm going to be right on the trade, I do not get enough size onto the trade, but manage to make back 80% of the initial losses. Then begin to buy back during the pull-in to VWAP against 66, which breaks and goes lower than expected and gets stopped out. At this point, I still believe the thesis is intact and look for another opportunity to get long. So this is the second part of the trade. This is more towards midday. Once it starts to hold higher, just under VWAP, I re-enter looking for the move into the high of days. When it holds 68 and consolidates at the highs, I re-enter again, playing the upside momentum for further into the new highs.
So yeah, I mean, there's a particularly good chart setup there. You have something that is consolidating below VWAP there, around that 12 o'clock hour, 12 o'clock period. You can see, it goes sideways for quite a bit of time. And then you're kind of coming to your moment of truth for how this is going to trend for the day. It's coming together there from 12 to 12:30. Can you highlight that? So we're really starting to come together right here. And we're just hovering. Show me which one is your VWAP. Your VWAP is
this one,
yeah, thank you. So we're just hovering below there, and this is the
20 SMA.
And so you're getting that. You're getting that fight right there, which is, hey, some people who think this is up too much and want to take some profits because the stock's run up too much, versus no, this has got plenty of room to go to the upside. And you're getting that tight wedge pattern that we like to see from an intraday basis. And then the other thing you have there is you have something that's got a really good news catalyst behind it, and you've got a really good technical driver behind it as well, in that it's broken out. And so, if it can start to get above that wedge pattern, that can have a nice run. Just that wedge pattern itself for a stock in play can cause something to get a nice run in direction. The fact that it gets above VWAP after being below it for a decent period of time, that can give it some energy to run a little bit. The fact that it has a really, really positive news catalyst, that can give it some energy to run a little bit. The fact that it's at an all-time high, that can give it a little bit of energy to run. What's the short interest overall in the stock?
7.7.
Okay. So we'd want to look to that to see if that could give it some energy. That's low short interest. I would have thought that the short interest was higher in this name. And so, but you want to start to piece that together. What are the things, how much can this go up, and what are the things that can give it some energy to trade higher? And then obviously in that break, what do you want to look at to determine whether or not the break is real or not in that wedge pattern? Just based on the intraday trading. Like, what do you want to see?
Volume?
Yeah, you want to see volume.
You want to see the buyers stepping up.
Yep.
Offers lifting. You want to see it moving away from price.
Yep. Yep, you want to see volume pick up. You want to see it move away from price. You want to see the Tate starting to show you some more strength by those buyers coming in, 100%. So that can give you lots of information right there. All right, so what do you do? Tell me what you do. So
so once it puts in this low here, as I said, I was buying into think this area here, so I let this play out, and then I wait for a lower high, or sorry, higher low, and then once I anticipate it getting back above VWAP and moving towards the highs of the day, because the long thesis for me is still intact.
How much does it gap up on the open? The other thing you want to be thinking about is how significant is that technical level that it breaks out above. So if the resistance level, if the all-time high top was tested a bunch of times and it had trouble getting above there a bunch of times, and then it finally got above there, that's going to be more significant than a stock that's kind of just generally trending higher and sort of making a new high every time the SPY makes a new high, which it seems like it finds a way to do in the market again this year. So you want to start to judge how important that all-time high that it's broken is out of 10. You want to give it a number. So at a scale of 1 to 10, would you give that a 3? Would you give that an 8? And if something's an 8, you're going to, again, find that to be more persuasive that it's finally above that price. Let's go back to the drive on the open. Let's go back to your trade management slide. That profit taking right on the open that you see right there, that is why you want to think to yourself, how much above the breakout area is this when it's gapping up? And so if something gaps up way above that breakout area, it's obviously going to have it's going to have more of a chance for it to pull in than if it's not that high above the breakout price. So that's why I asked the question, how much was it above the breakout area? How much was it gapping up? So you want to start to think about that when you're building your system. Something gaps up 10% and then pulls in 3%, that's a pull-in. If something gaps up 5% and pulls in 8%, that's a rejection. And so you want to start to ask yourself those questions. I do want to go back to one more thing, which is you mentioned that you couldn't go back to the slide before that. You mentioned that you took some losses scaling down on the open. So you were buying into, what were you doing?
So I was buying pretty much right at the open as it shot up here, and then you can see on the next candle it wicks back down towards the low here. Yep. And at this point, that's just above 65 here, and this is at 66. So that's a point and a half, close to 64 in risk already. So after these two executions, recognizing I was too early, I had to scale down because I had too much size on the trade.
How was the spread at that point?
The spread wasn't too bad. It was just touching a lot of prices really fast.
Yep.
So it was kind of shooting up and down.
Okay. Yep. So you want to be thinking about that. What's the spread and how many prices it's touching around the open, so you can control your risk, right? So when you say you had trouble getting it back, you took a couple of nicks here, and when you say once it starts to work, I don't get enough size onto the trade. Tell me about that. How can you fix that?
So because I had already drawn down, I think at least 50% on my daily stop. When I saw it going at this point, I was risking down to here, so just below 65, and I think I had an average just below 66, so almost a point in risk. And because of that, I wasn't going to risk my entire day in the first 10 minutes of the day.
How much were you going to risk? So that's an opening drive, right? So this is an opening drive play?
Yeah.
So like we tagged, there's all-time high breakout trade swing trades, and then there's all-time high breakout opening drive plays. That's an opening drive play. That's got to get a separate tag. And so you want to determine how much risk you want to give for an opening drive. You certainly, most likely you don't want to give as much risk to an opening drive as you would to all-time high breakout swing trade. You'd want to leave more risk for that, particularly given your personality, particularly given you're more structured and logical and systematic about how you like to think through things. You'd give more risk to an opening drive play if you were more of a scalper, more of a, you like the ball in your hands, you liked a lot of action, you like to think quickly and be in and out, like a swing.
Yeah.
And so even for risk, you'd want to think about your personality for that. And so, yeah, I mean, I like the idea that you're catching yourself in real time saying, hey, wait a second, I got to leave a little bit of risk given my stop out. I like more you thinking about how much risk you're willing to give that relative to your stop. Do you have a feeling that look, some people are really good trading opening drive plays, and you could certainly be really good at it. I would imagine after you developed the system and it was more structured for how you're going to attack it, you probably would trade that better. I actually know some people that aren't particularly great scalpers, but they're really good opening drive traders because they're very clear about how they want to trade the opening drive. They're very systematic about it, and that makes sense to them. So you can get to the point where you'd be good at that, even if you weren't a great scalper. But did you have a sense as to where the real risk was for this day on this trade for you?
I think that I was willing to give it up to 50% on my daily risk based on the fact that I had watched previous all-time high breakout trades over the prior 10 days.
Yeah.
And I traded one poorly and I missed one. So when it came to seeing this, I wanted to nail it, and I think I got a little bit too ahead of myself. I should have allowed 5 to 10 minutes from the open until I took my first execution. And I think because of those two really quick ones on the open, getting caught off guard as it wicked down, that caught me off guard as it wicked down. So I think looking at the trade, I wanted to be able to swing it for a longer period. It wasn't, I wasn't really looking at it as an opening drive. I was looking at it more of a swing trade. But given what had happened, I kind of readjusted that and I kind of allocated a little bit more risk to the trade with less size, and then took it off into the strength.
Yeah, you can't. So you'll have to develop rules for swing trading something right on the open. It's very rare to find something right on the open that you're just going to start swinging. I can think of some strategies that might work. It'd have to be close to and above a really important technical level. You'd have to see a spot where there was a lot of volume done during that intraday, that it finally got above, and then you could use that spot as a reference point after there was a lot of volume done. But or it'd have to be just like an incredibly great news catalyst. But you'd have to understand very specifically what would go into you being able to buy it right away and just swing it and hold it, as opposed to an opening drive play, which is more of a momentum trade. Very different trades. A lot more opportunities to make an opening drive play than right on the open a swing trade. And which essentially leaves for an opportunity like this, opening drive strategies that work for you. And then after time goes by, the real swing trade for you, based on, and that will develop So you'll watch the fight, you'll watch the buyers and the sellers come together, you'll wait for those wedge patterns, and then and time will go by, and people will get set up. I think it should go up, I think it should go down, people will get really invested, and then it will break. And then that will be your swing trade. So those are the two big camps of opportunity for this. But good. That's good. I mean, I think this is good that we had talked about this, and I'm glad we're talking about this because this is where you found some success last month as you're developing in your career. And now we just got to get more nuanced and more detailed about where your real edge is and more refined in how you're going to be able to trade this as best you can. So things like, I lost too much money right on the open, yeah, I mean, that's what happens. That's what happens. But this is certainly something that you can trade. When you're a developing trader, there's good in your trading and there's not so good. This is an example right here where there's some good in your trading and the bad can be eliminated or refined and such that you want to stick with it. And not every time you make a bad trade or a losing trade do you want to sort of cut it and think it's not for me. This is something that could work for you, and you want to keep going with that. Go ahead and click our subscribe button so you don't miss any of the trading videos that we're producing for you in the trading community. And please add your feedback in the comments section for what videos you'd like for us to produce next and what you found helpful from this video. From all of us at SMB, train and trade well.